All right, and we're live. Morning, everybody. This is Alec back with another stream. We are doing some more development on our app that we've been working on for the last couple months now. We've been tracking the streaming progress or the progress via stream for the last, we'll call it 7 days. I think we're on day 7 here. So, yeah, I like to just start the stream off by doing some updates on what we've accomplished so far, and maybe some things I've done off stream. I do a lot of work off stream. The development never stops. So let me pull up. So I had multiple agents actually going this morning before I even went live. I just had some ideas this morning that I had to get on paper and get into production. So let's go forward with that. So on the left here, I have an agent working on the app onboarding. So I actually added an onboarding process, and we're working on refining it so that it's much better than the first version that we implemented. The first version wasn't too bad, but I definitely want to make it better and more streamlined so that it's not as confusing, and it really guides the user along each step. We want to avoid abandonment rate. We want to make sure there's a lot of clarity on what exactly is happening, what they can change, what they can and can't customize. The onboarding process really should be like, a really good first impression so that people stay and use the app. And that comes with communicating to that user what the app does. Um, so onboarding is kind of everything really. So starting that is exciting because it's something I haven't really ever done before. I've never onboarded or created an onboarding thing for an app. A lot of my hobbyist experience in my past has just been like web design and stuff. And there's definitely a little bit of onboarding with web design, but not quite the same as an app. So this is definitely a learning experience for me. I'll be doing a lot of research to figure out what works best. I thought about using, I was learning about some like progress bars and, how you should start at like 10%, not 0%, and when to use progress bars. I guess in this particular case, I've decided that's probably not best to use progress bars because it's not really a bunch of like, um, reluctant information or information that people are reluctant to give up. So I think progress bars help encourage that. But we're not making accounts. We're not grabbing usernames, full names, emails, anything like that. So I don't know that they're appropriate in this case, but we still might explore them. So that's what this agent's been working on. And then on the agent on the right, we've been working on updating the website a little bit. We've been making so much progress on the app that the website is definitely kind of lagging behind. So we want to bring that website up to speed. One of the things I wanted to do, which I've been working on right now, is adding a releases page. This would be a great way to see the releases of the app without actually having to go to GitHub. There are some people who just don't want to interact with GitHub. They don't understand GitHub, and they'd really like to just either download and buy the app from the portal that we have. Right now it's Gumroad. It might change. And then learn about the app, of course, via the website. The website is supposed to be the cleanest, most user-friendly, most frictionless experience for learning. So I have a releases page down here, and it just says every release, and then quick note of entering is in beta, moving quickly. I don't know how big or small that is for folks who are watching the stream. And then, yeah, it just goes through all of the latest, or it goes through all of the releases. So this is the latest release. It does link to, oh, this is just, okay. And this does link to the GitHub repo. I guess this is just like an anchor. I don't know that that was necessary. I might have Claude remove that, but yeah, here's the release on GitHub. So that's working good. This shows the latest, and then these are all the rest with timestamps. So that's pretty cool. I like this. It even shows like the commits, which is myself. And you'll notice towards, I guess, early July, it'll say olive. That's normal. That's expected. The project actually used to be called Olive. I was going to call it Olive, but there was a lot of problems with that, and that actually, I'm upset that I didn't really get to stream that part of the journey because that was a huge learning experience for me. But that was just a branding mishap. And so the long and short of it is my idea was I just like olives. I actually don't like eating olives. I think olives are gross, but I like olives as like a color, and I like the olive color, and I like olive aesthetics, if that makes sense. Um, it might be kind of weird, but um, so what I was thinking is because it's a finance app, olives are kind of synonymous with green and red. There's, your stereotypical olive has the green outer and like the little red little insert. And I was like, yeah, well, that's very financial, right? You got like income and expenses, and so you could use the green and the red, and it kind of all ties in, and it'd be kind of cohesive. And it was looking good for a while. I might even have an old. Let me see if I can pull up an old version of the website here. Ba-ba-ba. I don't know that I do. No. Yeah, I don't think I do. Um, well, here is some, let's see. Can I show this? Yeah, I can show this. Here is some like old marketing stuff. So I had old Jippity um, put together some marketing material or UI material after prompting it. And I really liked what I was seeing so far. This wasn't going to be the final form, but it was just very, I don't know, it was very chic, very classy, very warm. I like the warm grays, I like the greens. And of course, you saw like um, the accents for like income and expenses, green and red. And it had like a nice color ramp here for that kind of user training of like what's positive, what's neutral, what's negative, all of that. Some button options. So ChatGPT did a pretty good job with this. I even really like the card. The card looks super cool. I don't. We're never gonna have a card. I'm not gonna use a card, but I just thought it looked cool and it kind of showcased the aesthetic. So I did like this. And I did run with this for a while. So the app did used to use olive colors. Um, and it took like it was all right, right? Like it was pretty good. And at first glance, you may say, oh, well, actually, yeah, expenses are red, income is green, it's an olive green, it's like the red or whatever that looks really nice. But the issue became that when you're working with UI, and I don't know if there's any sort of like good examples here. But when I wanted to actually use, that was the old logo. When I wanted, that was the first logo, which was terrible. Some text here. But yeah, like when we wanted to actually communicate things that were positive and negative and have colored UI elements, which I'm looking for an example. This was another old screenshot. Again, it looks cool at first glance. But yeah, like here, like whenever you wanted to actually use colors to show something, you couldn't communicate something without having to step around the learned behavior of associating green with positive and red with negative. So you couldn't have like a dynamic flat color palette for the cash flow thing the way that we have now. Like if I pull up cash flow, see how we're using just like a flat thing. Now it's like teal, it's like kind of green, but it's not super like green. And there's enough difference to where you don't see these exact greens and reds on this. And the most important part, this is probably not the best example, but the most important part is all of this, right? Like having the buttons, the primary buttons, the accents, the bar charts and all of that, you can't communicate neutral information if your accent is inherently not neutral. And it's if it was any other app than finance, I think green and red is fine. Like it would have been fine. But because it's a finance app, you're constantly looking for green and red. And if you were to open up your dashboard, once it actually got filled out the way that it looks like here, what you would see is really basically just a bunch of red. And it just didn't actually click as like, oh, this looks good. My finances look good. It's just you're seeing all of this red. Um, and it was kind of ugly. It was kind of jarring. So I know that's wonder if I have any other, yeah, because these are all old screenshots of the previous layout. And again, like they look good. Like looking back, I think they look fine. But when you actually implemented, like I said, like the net worth looks cool, the income expenses look cool. But if you do anything else, like down here, like I don't know why I didn't take more screenshots, but you have accounts that are green and you have accounts that are red. And because you're using green and red up here, like your brain is like, well, is my, one account, is that like, why is that red? It's just my bank account. Is that like is there something wrong? It's just little subtle psychological things that I was constantly running into when designing the app, that I was like, yeah, we have to abandon this this branding. It's not going to work. It's going to create way too many problems, and we're having to constantly fight with it instead of it just working. And it also didn't really communicate what I was going for. Nothing about olives as like a name or like an aesthetic communicates privacy and security. Um, it's not to say that I couldn't find a way to use like olive tones to communicate that, but again, I was doing so much fighting with it. Teal is like there's a lot of teal in privacy and security already. It's not super 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 popular, like the way like purple is, but it still invokes that level of trust that comes from blue and that level of money and finance that comes from green, while being neutral. It's not, teal is not like positive per se, it's not negative per se, it's very neutral. So having a neutral tone for your primary accents, for your buttons, for your call to actions and all that, that's why things like purple are so popular, like with startups and stuff, because it's just so easy to work with. So a little background about kind of where we came from, um, why that says olive. So sorry for that tangent, but hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, here are all the notes, and of course all of these notes link to the exact release in the repo. So there it is again. Good stuff. And then Claude added a cool little call out here with like a little shield badge, which I like. I didn't ask it to do that, but it looks nice. Venturing is no auto updater, never checks for one. I don't know if this will always be the case, but I am glad that it is the case now. So yes, Adventuring has no auto updater and it never checks. The app makes no network calls. It cannot tell you if a new version exists. This page is how you find out new versions are installed when you decide to install them. That is true. And that is true now. I don't know if it'll always be true in the future, but it is absolutely true now. And because privacy and security are a top priority, I am going to leave it that way for now, at least leading up to the 1.0 release. So that's that. But anyway, yeah, I think this looks really nice. It did a really good job. The agent whipped this out in like 5 minutes. And I think it looks really good. So another thing that we need to do is update our screenshots. We're probably going to do that. We'll see that this is slightly outdated, and that kind of segues into what I'll talk about next, which is the changes that we made to the UI in the app. So I have the app pulled up here, and let's do a new database because we're going to go through all the different changes, and that begins with onboarding. So onboarding, create. Awesome. So now when a user installs the app for the very first time or creates a brand new database, they're going to have this little blurb or pane or whatever on their home screen that says your dashboard is empty. Let's fix it. Point of entering at one transaction export, and it builds your ledger, statements, and charts from it. Everything is read and categorized from this computer. Nothing is uploaded. I may change the copy on that. Again, that's just Claude copy. But more or less that's true. So, well, it is true. I just don't know if it needs to be so wordy. So, all right. So we're going to begin the onboarding process. So we recently added this. I did this like yesterday. And I think for a first iteration, now on the second iteration, it's not bad. It's actually pretty good. So set up accounts. Here we go. So we start off with a modal and it says, let's start off with one account. So it's asking the user, we are now going to set up an account. So we're going to associate the transactions that you import with an account on your balance sheet. And I may add some clarity to that description here because it is really basically the balance sheet that we're kind of associating this account idea with. So, okay, we'll do checking. What do you want to call it? We'll call it primary checking. I asked it to remove this and it didn't, so that's annoying. Choose file. That part's a little slow. I don't know why. But yeah, noted, and I'm going to try to fix that. So we're going to do the transaction messy 10 year. So this is 10 years worth of transactions that are supposed to be messy. They're supposed to be like, all these crazy IDs and stuff. We've used this on stream in the past. So, oh, I think I need to restart. Sorry. That's why. Let me see if there's. That's still slow, but duly noted. There we go. Okay. So yeah, I was using that first iteration when I want to test the new one, but so it takes you to the map column screen. We've seen this before from the transaction import screen. This is now just in the onboarding process as well. It reuses the same modal. So we get a file preview. We see that when we uploaded our transaction export, it's going to automatically make it look like this. So this looks good. Date, description, debit, credit, notes, and balance is skipped because there is no balance. If we update this, it doesn't update the table in real time. So I would like it to do that. And I'm going to make a note for it to do that. 1 second, please. Update table in real time. Because we're already kind of working on this, so I want the agent to work on that immediately after I show you this. And then my file has separate debit credit columns. This one does, but you can turn this off if it doesn't. Again, it doesn't update, which we're going to fix, but there you go. Continue. Preparing your import. Nice loading modal there. Love that. That worked great. Okay, what do we have here? Here's your import. Okay, so this is all right. This needs to be static somewhere. It needs to go down into this static area. So I wanted it to keep this, but I don't want it there. I don't know why I put it there. But we do have a table that shows all of the transactions that our import created or our export created had in it. And the user can scroll through all these if they want, select and deselect any that they want or whatever, and just verify that it looks right. So this gives the user some feedback and it shows them, okay, yeah, this is your data. We brought it in, we're moving forward. And I think that'll help with the retention. It's a really short process. It's like 3 steps. So literally we're gonna do looks right. And then we're done. It's imported and then it's asking for another account. Now we can either finish or we can exit out of this. So, or we can create a new one. We can import more on an existing account or create a new account, or we can finish using the finish button or the X. So that's what it looks like now. I think it definitely needs some iteration, some more iteration. It looks better than it did the first time, but it definitely we're getting there. So This still says empty. If I exit out, great, it refreshes. That's good. And then, yeah, we can go through the process again. We can click import. We can do savings, primary savings, choose file, download, savings account 10 years, select, credit debit balance. This one has a balance. That's nice. And so it auto put it there. That's great. Continue. These look great. Looks right. Great. Okay. And then we go home and here's our stuff. And if we go to statements and we go to our balance sheet, we can see we have primary checking and we have primary savings. Now, the primary checking, it didn't have any balance information, so the user is still going to have to input that manually, and we're going to have to find a way to communicate that. But the savings account did export with a balance, and so Aventurine detected that and put that into the column automatically for them, and it goes all the way back since they've had it. So, and this is not written. It's not written. It's not computed as this. So cash flow. See these values. See how they're like the teal color. This is actually the best example of why we got away from like the olive thing or whatever, because this had to basically be some kind of color, and because it couldn't be green because it didn't, like, it's like, why is it green? Like, why would a utility expense be green or whatever? It was a mess. So now this is nice and neutral and it matches and it doesn't confuse the user. So this is computed values. These are values that are stored on the back end that are taken forward to serve based on the transaction data. You can overwrite it with user inputted data, and you can see that black is inputted user data, and you can revert it back to the computed value. So computed values look like this. Again, they're on the back end and they're derived from something. This just takes what was on the balance for the export import and places it as user inputted data. So it's not computed from anything. And the reason why it's not computed is because there's no actual other way that you could have edited it in the software other than right here. Whereas with computed data, you can edit this. You can go to your transactions and reorganize, recategorize, delete, add more, whatever. Whereas with the balance, it's only ever recorded here, so it's not computed. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so yeah, the onboarding looked good. And then now that we're in the app, I'll just go over some of the UI changes. So we added some slices to the chart bars here in monthly cash flow. I may have covered that last stream. I can't remember. We also have updated tabs. These look way more in sync with the rest of the design language of the app. These look really nice. I love these. I think this is an awesome solution. You're able to scale these and add more options, and it looks cool. Right now, I just have the 2 options. I think it's pretty intuitive, and it allows you to use tabs on the same row as other information without it having like formatting conflicts. So really like that. You'll notice I also took out I'm trying really to gut the navigation. I only want features that are polished and really working correctly to be here. And to be honest, both of these don't really meet that criteria yet, but I do want to ship it with these because I use these. I at least use portfolio. Credit cards, I would like to use more, but it needs probably the most amount of work. Um, but yeah, cash flow, this chart looks fantastic. Forecast, this doesn't look bad. It does need to be brought slightly up to date with the rest of the design language, but functionally, it's actually pretty decent. So yeah, this is pretty cool. And then of course spending, which is just a single chart here, but we have the drop down for that. I think this looks really good. So yeah, nice animations. We can take our accounts off. And again, the accounts are neutral, right? These are all part of a color ramp or a hue ramp for the accent color. So there's not like this implied sorry, I got distracted. There's not an implied thinking, feeling of, oh, this is positive, this is negative, something's wrong, something's neutral, or whatever. These are all neutral. So they're all neutral. And hopefully that's communicated well. I also changed the transaction thing from blue to yellow. Blue is definitely very good for notifications that are informational, not like super, super important. I know a lot of people use red, but I think red is very, in a finance app, it doesn't make sense. Social media, of course, it makes sense. You want to, get people addicted to using your shit, but transactions, categorizations, we're already using red as an expense. That is the primary use of that color. We shouldn't be reusing it really for anything else. And blue was just a little, well, blue was better for one, it was better used as a transfer. We don't have a transfer here. That's okay. We'll make one. Transfer test. Checking. Savings. $300. Okay, so that's what a transfer to savings looks like, and it's 300. So blue is very informational, which did make it a candidate for this, but it's also really the only other color that makes sense for a transfer in the context of the rest of the app. Purple felt weird. Orange is not right. Um, Even yellow is not right. Like we're not losing money. Whoops, sorry. We're not losing money. And we're not gaining money. We're just moving money. It's extremely, extremely neutral accounting wise. Um, and I just felt like the other colors didn't quite capture that neutrality as well as blue does. So even though blue would have been a good candidate for this, it had to have been used for this. So the next best candidate for this is yellow, in my opinion. I did like an amber to communicate that it's not entirely neutral. Technically, you should be categorizing these, so there's some action you should take. There should be some attention given to this, but it's not also urgent or negative, and it's certainly not like positive or anything. So this is what I've settled on. I think this makes a lot of sense. As with everything, it doesn't mean it's permanent. I may come up with a better idea. I may learn about a better idea. But for now, this is what it is, and I'm pretty happy with it. And it looks nice. Like if you do like income looks good, expenses look good, and then transfers look good. I think it looks really good. I think it looks really clean. Another thing is these filters. Probably didn't notice, but I just wanted to space out the dashes more. Before I was using the CSS property for dotted borders or dash borders, but you can't modify that property like at all. It's very just it is what it is, which kind of sucked because it was not very attractive. It was pretty bad. So I had Claude um, create a solution to create a more space, longer dash border around these. And so the solution it came up with was SVGs. And so it draws these SVGs as a border around it and then takes them off and replaces it with a normal border when you set the filter chip. So pretty interesting solution. I wish there was a better solution in just pure CSS. I'd really like to avoid doing SVG stuff if possible. But it's snappy, it's fine, it works, it's good looking, it's better than the CSS pure CSS version that's possible. But yeah, that's that. So trying to think, we did add drop down arrows to the drop down here to make it more obvious to the user that this is clickable and that you can select things. So I'm happy with that. Looks great. And I'm trying to think of anything else. I think that might be it. Oh, one more thing. So we have, I think, yeah. So we added a new color theme. I wanted to add a colorful color theme. I actually think it looks pretty good. So this is what it looks like. It just uses the primary accent for the navigation. and everything else is light, this wouldn't look good in dark mode. I tried it, it looked gross. So it's just a colorful light version, kind of like how Microsoft does with their Office suite. They'll have like plain white or dark mode, and then like a colorful light version. Basically the same thing, similar vibes. And yeah, I don't mind it. It looks pretty cool. It definitely adds, it takes up, it has a lot of visual weight to it, which on one hand is like cool, but on the other hand could be a little much. So I may experiment with like narrowing that navigation menu. Um, maybe, I don't know. Having maybe like the ability for the user to change it. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, it was just kind of an experiment. And then because this would look like crap on this, it's using a solid color, which I think is fine. Looks all right. It's not like amazing, but um, yeah, it's just an option. Like it's. And then dark mode, we definitely did some work on dark mode. Dark mode it was getting abused and neglected. And so it looks a lot better. These chips now stand out. Before they were not standing out. These chips and information actually look really good in dark mode in my opinion, so I'm happy with those. Same thing with these. These used to be like bright white green or whatever, so I made them more in step with everything else. Um, Statements, the tabs look really good. Cash flow statement still looks really good. Everything else looks good. So these I need to fix. I know that. But it's just not as important as other features right now. But yeah, that's basically what we have so far. So I am going to do a little bit more development work on the onboarding process here. I have an agent spinned up, and spun up, I think is the right word. And we're on Opus 5. Opus 5 is really, really, really good. I have done a ton of work this morning, and let me check my usage. Yeah, I've only used like 38%, and we've done basically 2 refactors on the onboarding process. So Opus is finally epic. So super happy with that. If you're just tuning in, my like last stream, one second. My last stream, I talked about hopping from model to model, plan to plan, company to company. A lot of people, they had their Claude and like, oh, Fable's going away. I'm gonna go make a OpenAI account, and oh, OpenAI is not cool anymore. I'm gonna go make a Kimi account. And that's fine and all that, but I hope people are getting it by now that just pick one. They're all going to be neck and neck for the longest time. And even you will spend literally 20 days, if that, behind the frontier model before the company that you pick, as long as it's not Google, is next, is topping the benchmarks, the leaderboards, whatever. So, um, a lot of people might ask, oh, what model should I use? What plan should I buy? Again, I will reiterate, I have been on the Claude Pro plan, $20 a month for the last 2 months. I have not spent a dollar more than that. I don't buy API usage tokens. I don't have any other plan. I don't have a Kimi plan. I don't have an OpenAI plan. I do have an OpenAI account, and I'll use the free ChatGPT thing every once in a while to like do a graphic or something. But as far as what I pay for my tooling for this project, it's $20 a month, not a dollar more. So you don't need a bunch of these unless you want to do that, unless you just have fun spending $300, $500 a month on, and having 20 agents going and creating all this crazy sloppy nonsense for you. By all means, go for it. That's for you to do. But if you want to realize a project, an idea that you have in your head, you don't need anything. You just, go bare minimum. Do what you can with like free plans, and yeah, if the idea really starts gaining speed and snowballing, and like you're like, oh yeah, I really want to commit to this, then I would say yeah, get a $20 plan. But all these people with $500 plans doing loops and shit, whatever. It's just wasteful. It's so wasteful. You don't need it. You can make amazing apps. I mean, this app looks. I'm really proud of what I have here. And it was dirt cheap to make, guys. I mean, I've spent $40, $20 a month. It's been like 2 months. I've spent $40 making this app. Um, guys, that's amazing, right? Don't be blowing your money. I mean, yeah, I don't need to say much more about it. So, Flash Bomb, back to the light version. Okay, so onboarding process. I want to take some screenshots here. So what I was doing is I was mapping this in my Obsidian canvas. So I took screenshots of the old onboarding process, so that I could like just stare at it and be like, okay, what needs to change? So now that it's changed, we are going to update these. Um, why can't I just delete this? Okay. Silly Obsidian. Okay, so these look, we're just gonna delete these. We don't have a fourth step anymore, so I'm not worried about that. Okay, so file, new database. I want to go through the whole thing completely fresh. Just drop this in downloads, replace. Yeah, just replace it. I don't care. Um, Now, yeah, so this is interesting. So it creates it. Okay. We'll just do that. Don't worry about that. I'll fix that. Okay. So set up accounts. So we still have that part. Yep, that looks good. I'm gonna delete this. Okay, that looks good. Set up accounts. Okay, so this is what this looks like. Checking, primary checking. Let me grab a screen cap of this. Okay. Paste that there. Okay, now where do we go? Checking, primary checking, choose file, downloads, messy. Okay, so it takes us to this. There we go. Looks good. And then let's go to the next step. There we go. We got to change that. But yeah, let's grab a screen cap of this first. Awesome. And looks right. Does the go back button work? Okay, good. Okay, it does a dry run. And okay. Yeah, that's fine. Looks right. And then it takes us back here. And that's the part that I'm not sure will keep. I don't know. Let me see. I have thoughts about that. Okay. Let's zoom in. And finish. Okay. And it updates it. Looks nice. Okay. So yeah, now we have all of the steps here, which is fantastic. And now we can, I just noticed which account. It's like auto detecting. That's weird. Okay. Okay, so let's start with this one. Let's start with the first account, download. So I think, yeah, I think this modal probably looks good. I don't know. I don't even have support for like a retirement CSV, I don't think. unless it like shadow added that and I just wasn't aware, which would be super cool, but uncool at the same time. But it put it there. So, um, moving on to here. So, okay, yeah, I want this file preview to update in real time. So I'm going to think of a prompt for that. 1 second, I'm going to step away real quick to take care of something. Give me just a second here. Okay. All right. So, yeah, let me see if I can. I'm just gonna. Looks good. I have some more changes I think I want you to make. Can you make the preview table in, should be step 2. I really wish it would not. Can you make the preview table in step 2 map columns modal update dynamically with user selections? This way, user can see how their mappings will make the information look before the dry run. 2. Yeah, this part. Okay, so let's zoom in for you guys. Have to even make these bigger next time. But so step 3, here's your import transactions we added. That's fantastic. This call out needs to be static, and I want it to be at the bottom here. So the gray call out box should be static and placed in the static section at the bottom. Should it be above or below? Importing into checking. I actually don't even know that we need that. Let's just the bottom, replacing the part that says importing into checking. Importing into name of account. Okay, and then let's see. So that's step 3, and then yeah, step 4. Yeah, there needs to be like a success, right? Right. Okay. The 4th step needs to just be a modal that says success, and then 2 buttons that say, and then 2 buttons. One button that says take me to my dashboard. Second button says upload more transactions. Yeah, I think that's gonna be way better. That's a way better system. Yeah, so what's gonna happen is they're gonna be like, okay, set up my accounts. Let's start with your first account, checking, name it, and then it's gonna grab the file. We're gonna do choose file, which I'm thinking should just be like floated to the right there. That's kind of weird. I will fix that. They're going to choose the file. This should now dynamically update based on their columns. It's going to give them a quick preview. Here's what you got. Here's also what's not categorized, but don't worry. Like it'll, you can set rules and stuff. Oh, let's do, what do you want? How do you, there we go. And then instead of being taken straight to add another account, it's going to create a new modal that just says, great, they're uploaded. Either take me to the dashboard or loop me back. And then we're going to loop back, right? This should be the only part, right? You understand what I'm saying? So that this is duplicated, right? This should not exist in it's redundant. It's existing in 2 different modals at once. And it shouldn't, like, there should be a modal for uploading, a modal for editing, a modal for verifying, and then it's done. And then if you want to upload again, then you go back to that modal. You don't create this weird brand new one. So that is what it's like iterating with AI sometimes, but it's fine because I think it's gonna get it. I think it's gonna get it right, and it's not gonna hardly cost us any tokens. Like I said, if we check usage here, yeah, that only added another like 4%, 5%. Yeah, no big deal at all. So Opus is so much more efficient than Fable, or cheaper. We'll just call it cheaper, cheaper than Fable. And it was really smart on their part because Fable was bundled with all of this extra stuff that I don't think devs really needed. You know, I don't know. It just had all these. A lot of people are kind of confused with like, okay, well, why does Opus 5 exist if Fable 5 exists? Like, why release Fable and then a month later release Opus 5, which is basically the same thing except half the price. And it is basically the same thing, but the difference is what justifies the difference in pricing and usage and all that. Fable, being Mythos class, was extremely oriented towards cybersecurity, and that sort of realm of security, threats, vulnerabilities, analysis, that sort of thing. And they tried their hardest to create all these guardrails for this Mythos class cybersecurity, ultra instinct hacker or whatever. Um, and so with Claude Opus 5, they've basically just removed all of that. And they're just like, yeah, we're just not even going to try to play around with these weird guardrails because they're really hard to do. Here is a kick-ass coding agent that basically just can't, I'm not saying it can't tell you anything about security, but it's just obviously not clearly as capable as Fable. And so I think you'll see in the next, I mean, it's moving so fast, you might see it next freaking week. But definitely within the next month or two, there might definitely be some bifurcation on the marketing. They're gonna probably stick to Fable Mythos as being sort of this enterprise cybersecurity solution, and Opus being agentic coding. So that's what I think. While that is iterating, I'm just gonna check in on the old Twitter to see if there's any news, because last time I checked, we got a brand new model drop, so that was exciting. Let's see here. Can't share that. Jeez. Yeah, pretty quiet. Yeah, a lot of people just benchmarking Opus 5, saying how great it is, which is, I tend to believe. Like I said, I've been using Opus 5 basically since it came out. It's obvious it's been out for what, a whopping 24 hours, so let's not get too crazy here, but um Yeah, it's way better than 4.8. I can definitely tell you that. And I know I dunk on 4.8 a lot, but I used it a lot. And when it worked, it was great. When it didn't, it was absolutely infuriating. It's still a good model though. Like I get, so much of the app was built on 4.8. I obviously cannot hate on 4.8. But yeah, Opus 5 is so much better. I feel like I genuinely I could finish and maintain the life cycle of this app with Opus 5. Like if we never got any other model, and it never got any better, which won't be the case, but if it just never got any better and I was just stuck on Opus 5, I could absolutely finish and maintain the app for the rest of its life cycle on Opus 5. It's more than enough. And again, the so far the $20 plan has been more than enough as well. If I get like 10,000 users overnight, and I'm having to do a bunch of crazy, I'm having to stay up all night to fix things, then yeah, I might go max, just so I don't run into those walls. Because I definitely could. I have in the past from obsessive development, but yeah, it's pretty ballin'. As long as it's profitable for Anthropic to give access to Opus 5 and a pro plan, Anthropic is going to be killing it. But they're all going to be killing it. I mean, like I said, Kimmy's doing good. I mean, people were blowing up on Kimmy. Can you even are the Kimmy plans available yet? I know they were on like a wait list. Got it. Yeah, they're still on a wait list. Wow. Yeah, I hear Kimmy K3 is friggin' awesome. So I mean, if you have Kimmy, you don't need Claude. You don't need. Do not come and grab Opus 5 just because I'm saying good things about Opus 5 or whatever. If you're on Kimmy K3 or any of these other things, then basically, as long as you're not using like Gemini and Grok, you're fine wherever you're at. GPT 5.6, Kimmy, or whatever. I mean, yes, there are some benchmarks. There's hallucination problems with all, certain mod. I get it, but um, yeah, save your money, guys. Save your money. Ideas and iteration is where it's at. It's not about blasting past the finish line by spending $1,000 on tokens every month. Um, just stay the course. You're not behind. Don't get burnt out. Don't get AI psychosis or derangement syndrome or whatever. Just relax. It's all gonna be all right. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know if anybody's seen this, but I am looking at the cursor bench, and again, don't don't get too crazy with it or whatever. But yeah, Opus 5 on cursor bench. Pretty good. Pretty good. Now, I mean, apparently Grok 4.5 high is pretty good. I don't know where it lands in terms of I mean, this is cursor bench, so I mean, coding and all that, but um yeah, Opus 5 is doing very well. But yeah, if you're on GPT, Soul Extra High or whatever, it's, it's not that far off, guys. It's not that far off. Um, and yeah, if you're on an Anthropic plan, don't even bother with Sonnet. Sonnet's, I don't know what they were thinking with Sonnet 5. I wouldn't use that. But yeah, Gemini is obviously trash. I would not be using Gemini. I don't really know anything about Composer, so, you know, make of that what you will. But yeah, Anthropic is doing really well. But OpenAI definitely still has a leg in the race. Looks like Rock might have a later. What is this asterisk? What is this? Can I like hover? Grok 4.5 has an advantage on cursor bench. An earlier snapshot of the cursor codebase was unintentionally included in training. The exact score impact is unclear. The data has been. Oh, so it's benchmarking it, or could be benchmarking extremely high on Cursor Bench because Cursor Bench's bench was included in Grok's training data. And so it may not perform as high just doing a regular task. Maybe, according to this asterisk. That's interesting. All right, let's check back in on the agent. Yes, please allow. Are there any work we can be doing on the website in tandem here? We should be updating these screenshots, but maybe it can do that. You know, it's going through a test run here. That looked good. I saw that. Looked nice. Okay, it's what it looks like when you do the manual import from transactions. That looks good. I do kind of want to get a better icon going on. I do that one myself, just in Inkscape real quick. It looks fine. Could be better though. Those things are important. I really just want to get the functionality out there though. I think that is the most important. But yeah, UI and graphics are huge. They're a huge part of the impact and the first impression. So I definitely want to spend some time working on that. Um, I'm just not a super great like drawer, but it's a rock. It shouldn't be too hard, right? Yeah, we'll see. And I'd also like, so yeah, we need to update this Remotion video. Remotion is an extremely taxing process on tokens, even just edits, I'm finding. So, um, I might wait for a reset I got to reset it in a couple hours, so I might just wait. But yeah, we don't need all this dead space. We have the columns are different now. I think it could just be zoomed in and do a little. I wanted to do like panning and clicking and all that, but last time I did that, it just looked terrible. So, I don't know. I'm still learning Remotion. I don't know if there's a learning curve or if it's just kind of seems like just throw the best model at it and it just works sort of thing, which is kind of frustrating. Um, but yeah, it is what it is. And then yeah, I'm thinking about this hero section. I like it. Um, I don't know. I feel like it could be like a little bit more. I don't know. I feel like the static screenshots of the app, like that looks kind of cool. I feel like I might just narrow it down to just one. Like I don't think anybody really cares about any of this stuff and as screenshots. This isn't selling anything. I think this is. I think the dashboard looks really good and people want to see that their plain Jane bank data is being turned into something useful. So I might go back to like placing that in like a mock-up, like like a MacBook or whatever in the middle of the screen, and remove the slideshow. I like the slideshow styles though. I like these bars. I think this looks really nice. But I don't think there's really anything to actually show. I mean, this shows a little bit, but we're showing it down here, so it's redundant. This doesn't communicate what it is unless there's an onboarding process. This kind of communicates what it is, and it's cool, and I think people are interested in it. It's the kind of marketing that like Monarch uses. Monarch Money, they would be like a main competitor, and yeah, their stuff looks really nice. They kind of have like the Claude thing or the Anthropic thing going on. Like they got the serif font and like the orange and all that. But yeah, they do like to show this their cash flow dashboard right up front. Is this okay? Yeah, it's just a picture. And it looks really good. I mean, this looks awesome. This looks really good. So I would like mine to eventually look even better than this potentially. But yeah, I don't know why it's got like these multiple things in there. That's kind of weird. But anyway, yeah, they're clearly trying to show like data. If you get a cash flow report for this month, total income, total expenses. I mean, this is actually really cool information. Um, and yeah, they're showing like the rainbow dashboard thing or whatever. So yeah, that looks really cool. That's what they do, and I think it works. Where's the rest of their website? Yeah, I think their hero section's like a video of people using the app. That is pretty cool. I don't really like it for my app. Um, or I wouldn't use something like this for my app, I don't think. Um, yeah, for me, I mean, this is slick. I like this. This is nice. But for me, it doesn't I don't know that it would work for me in helping communicate why my app exists. I want my app to be able to do all of this, but again, the big thing is privacy, open source, and security. Being offline, being self custody, and all of that. So, yeah, this looks really cool. Yeah, no, they did a really good job on their website. So they're very popular for a reason. There's a lot of other ones. I think Tiller's popular. Yep, Tiller's a popular one, and they kind of show what this is. This one's interesting because yeah, it syncs your accounts to a private spreadsheet with daily automation, bank grade privacy, and top rated support. So this is pretty cool, and it was almost the direction that we kind of took our app, which was like let's make it like spreadsheet like. Which as you can see, there are some spreadsheet elements. Let's make sure we're moving through here. With being able to update some things. But the thing with spreadsheets is that they're very not scalable. The moment you have a decent amount of data, they become extremely laggy. And the whole premise of, a spreadsheet that you own is defeated by the fact that it's a Google sheet. So you don't actually own it. Google owns it. And they can look at it whenever they want, regardless of what they say, even if they don't. Um, So yeah, I mean, bank grade privacy, I don't really buy that. So um, that's how I feel. But again, another thing that is showcasing the app, the graphical features, and they're not really showing you like the super lame stuff. Kind of like what I'm doing. So I would like to fix that. I would like mine to be less lame. We'll just stick to this. Maybe even like show like it animating and like it coming to life. Like when people like if you look here, see all those animations. See how it comes to life. Um, yeah, showing that there would be kind of cool. But yeah, I mean it's interesting. It's important to take a look at what other people are doing, what other companies exist in the competition, because it's more about finding, in my opinion, I don't know, I'm not like successful yet or anything, but I think the strategy is finding your own lane and not necessarily trying to boot somebody else out of their own lane. Like how many think about all of here's a good example. Think about all of the games out there that have claimed to be World of Warcraft killers, WoW killers. Have any of them actually killed WoW? No, they haven't. And they never will. If you market your game as a WoW killer, you're destined to be killed by WoW because you're trying to boot somebody out of their lane that they've been in for 20 years. It's just not possible. It's stupid. So what you do is you find your own lane and you make it so that you are the one in that lane so that nobody can boot you out of your lane. So Tiller has a lane, Monarch has a lane, You Need a Budget has a lane, and I am trying to craft my own lane. I'm not trying to compete necessarily with these other um, products, but like they are technically competition, so they're you want to study them and understand why people like them, but it's also that research isn't to like again boot them out of their lane. It's to find out, well, where's the gap? Tiller's already providing this. Monarch is providing this. What is it that I need to provide? What are privacy centric, self custody finance people desperately needing? So that's the research that we're trying to do here. Yeah, You Need a Budget is a good one. My what's going on there? Okay. Yeah, this one is extremely popular. Everybody or a lot of people know what it is. Um, and yeah, their whole thing is like people who have literally never budgeted before, right? Very straightforward. You need a budget. You don't have a budget. You need a budget. So super cool. I think they do a great job at communicating why they exist, and talking to their user base, and their potential user base. Their design language is really good. The website's really good. Showcases are really good. This hero section is not rigid. Like it's not like confined to a space. It kind of just bleeds into the site, which it flows really. Um, and it looks really good. It's really quite attractive. They did a really good job on that. Tiller has a more conventional. I guess this is kind of what I was talking about, right? So here's like my catch line. Here's like my description, and then a MacBook mock-up. That's basically what I was just talking about. Obviously, mine would look different. It's not like a copy or anything, but um, oh look, they're using the. I wonder. I don't like eyebrows. I know the AI is always using the eyebrows. I hate eyebrows. Now, it's not trying to use an eyebrow here, it's just a link, but I hate the eyebrows. I don't like that. Um, but yeah, so it's got that, it's got that. Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward hero section. Um, a pretty verbose little. Let's go back. Okay, never mind. So this is the actual hero section. Yeah, and you get this. Yeah, it has to use Google. Does it have to use Google Sheets? I was under the impression it did. Um, I'm almost positive it does because how would it sync? How would it talk to anything if it's not on a hosted thing? I love that my spreadsheets are mine forever, unlike another program I use that became obsolete. Great point. Yeah, that's definitely our mission as well. And if somebody got that value from Tiller, that's awesome. Because yeah, I freaking hate that. I hate being locked into an ecosystem. That ecosystem disappears, and then you're screwed. You're up the creek. It's so annoying. I had that experience. Oh gosh, I had that experience last year with Synology, dude. Oh my god. If y'all don't already know, Synology makes network attached storage devices, or NASs for short, NAS, and which is a pretty popular device among people who do projects, creators, and home labbers. I fall into basically all of those categories, and so I have an NAS, and I had a Synology NAS, and yeah, everything is ecosystem and proprietary. So when it came to the day that everybody dreads, but it's inevitable, where a drive goes bad and there's some data recovery that needs to be done, my the backup tool that Synology uses is proprietary. It was Hyper Backup, Synology Hyper Backup. Now, you could set up other things, but I just wasn't thinking at the time about ecosystem lock-in because I was just dumb when I first bought it. Anyway, I bought it, set it up, and forgot. Um, which is what you want, by the way. You just want to set it and forget it. You don't have to freaking manage things. But so anyway, yeah, a couple drives went bad. Had to do some data recovery. This was actually not a year ago. This was 2 or 3 years ago. Um, and yeah, I went to go do the thing, and it was like, yeah, you hyper backup is a proprietary thing, so you need to use Synology software to read the backup. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I was trying to go through Synology's website to find their hyper backup standalone installer for just normal devices, Windows and um, Linux or whatever. There was not a Linux version, which is hysterical. Actually, there was. No, that's a lie. It was an app image and it crashed all the time. It was garbage. So I had to use the Windows version, which wasn't much better because, yeah, that one would crash too. And so, yeah, I'm having to basically recover all of my data in like small little increments so that it won't crash onto an external drive, just to make sure that it didn't explode or didn't leave. I did have a secondary um, warm storage backup, and I did have some cold storage, but the cold storage was like a month out of date, and I had projects that I needed and stuff like that. So moral of the story is, had to use hyper backup. It was garbage. It was ecosystem lock-in. I couldn't get my data unless I used Synology's crappy tools. And yeah, lesson learned. I don't do that anymore. So I built one, run TrueNAS on it, do rsync, and life is great. So okay, 3 changes are implemented. Here we go. Let's test. File, new database, browse, name it some crap, save. Great. Set up my accounts. Want this floated to the right, but that's not important right now. Checking. Choose file. Messy. Oh, this one. Do that one. Okay. Match the columns in your file to the transaction fields below. Preview, first 3 rows. Date, description, amount, notes. If I want notes to be description, there you go. Nice. Now, of course, you don't want that, but yeah, look at that. Oh, and it just completely busts when you do that. So that's good. Should. Um, amount. Do we have a because we just have the amount. Money in, money out. But it doesn't. Oh, amount. Date? What is it doing? Okay, yeah, this needs some work. That's fine. We'll work on that. Yep, that looks great. I think gray is a good color for that. I really don't want people to be alerted. I want to be like, oh no. Like it's just like, oh okay, right, okay. If they skip past it and they don't even read it, it's not a big deal. Your transactions have been added. Upload more transactions. Wow, this button placement looks terrible. That's okay. We'll ask it to fix it. Um, go to okay. Okay, so looks right. A couple of caveats in the preview table. It breaks when certain options are selected. For example, um, when toggling between having separate columns for credits and debits, it does not actually add or remove those columns from the preview. Several others behave weirdly as well. Please investigate. Second, the success modal styles are wonky. Please we do not need the top and bottom horizontal rules. Just use large text to say success and then normal text right below it. Fix the buttons as well. They are too long and raking out of their styles. Also rename them to be start another upload and go to dashboard respectively. Okay, let's see what that says. Yeah, we were doing market research here. Let's see. Yeah, YNAB, Tiller, Monarch. What's the other one? Mint, but it's gone. It's gone. Voted best Mint replacement. Old Monarch with the SEO there. Let's see. Yeah, there's not much to see. Yeah. Mint used kind of like a teal. Huh. Cool. And let's see. Actual budget is one. Um, this one, yeah, this one leans more to the privacy focus, self-hosting stuff. It's definitely cool, but man, is it dated. Oh my lord. Oh boy. Yeah, it's just really dated. Um, I mean, maybe they're onto something with the fact that it looks like, a Raspberry Pi hole dashboard. Um, Given that it's like privacy focused and all that, but I don't know. I think there is an appetite. I think privacy people are tired of having to settle for crappy UI. Yes, the privacy and the self custody and all that is the priority. But I think if you asked them if you could have privacy and it looked like $1 billion SaaS, they'd be like, yeah, please give us $1 billion SaaS UI. And so um, that's another problem that I think we're gonna solve is giving people that optionality. Do we have $1 billion SaaS UI yet? Maybe not $1 billion UI, but we're getting there. It's definitely much more modern and clean um, than the strictly privacy focused alternatives. That's my opinion. Mm, I think this looks good, to be honest. I think there's definitely some things that we're gonna change, but I think it does look good. I think we got it. I think we got something here. Let's lighten up the load here. Uh, so yeah, we'll do some more edits. We're approaching hour and a half on the stream here. Cool beans. Yeah, we'll probably cut out here shortly. Maybe come back online later. Um, I just want to see us get through these changes real quick. I'd like to see Opus just nail this slight refactor here. Very, very pleased with that if that happens that way. Come on, Claude. Oh, he found a bug. Whoa. Nice. Okay, he's fixing it. Okay, let's give it a shot. Set up accounts, checking, choose file, downloads, messy, select. Okay, let's see. Now it's not clear that. Okay, I see what it's trying to do. All right. Well, that's still messed up. We'll fix that. This looks good. Oh man, that forehead is bigger than mine. All right. Well, anywho, start another upload. Never mind. Finish. Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's a much better cadence and workflow. So, there are some things that we need to fix there, of course, but all things considered, not bad. So, yeah, I think we made really good progress. I don't think we're gonna commit these yet. The website I might commit, but yeah, we'll just go ahead and end it there. Thanks for tuning in. I will might be on later, but we'll definitely be streaming more towards the middle and end of the week. Keeping up with progress and development on this. So, yep, tune in and I will see you then. Take care.